hi there, and happy Halloween. Well, I thought it was appropriate to start today with a bony white arm and a withered hand reaching out from beyond the grave in today's context view. Is that what it really is, or is it just an overactive imagination at work? Let's take a closer look. Is the arm and its hand organic? Probably not. In fact, it may just be another amazingly carved rock, another remarkable and even improbable product of wind and sand, or could it be part of a statue? Or maybe a robotic arm formerly used in industrial production of some kind. Whatever it is, its resemblance to a humanoid arm is both striking and a bit disturbing. What pops out in this next context view is the piece circled there. It's a strange color, a strange shape, and a strange position. As we move in a little closer for the detailed view, we find what is, well, it's certainly an enigmatic piece. I mean, what the heck is this thing? A freak of erosion sculpting a rock of varying densities, or a purposeful carving by an intelligent hand? Is it technology? The piece just to the right has what could be well-worn carving on its surface, or it could be natural. However, those 90-degree angles and evenly spaced rivets, so to speak, on our main exhibit are just too clean to be natural, or at least to my way of thinking. It's nice every once in a while when there's something large enough, close enough, and not fuzzed up or hidden for whatever reason by NASA, so we can have a decent look at it. Such is the case in today's context view, where we see a big chunk of something down in the lower right-hand corner. Moving in a little closer, we see what at first glance might be an eroded boulder. Odd angles, knobs, and channels could be the result of relentless chiseling by wind and sand, but here are two considerations that mitigate against this being a naturally eroded boulder. In fact, they're my two go-to criteria for determining a non-fractal anomaly, and that is non-fractal angles and bilateral symmetry. Let's move in good and tight to examine whatever this thing is. Now take note of the following: parallel sides of the same shape and thickness, a squared off end on the right with perfect 90-degree angles everywhere, 4 symmetrical grooves cut into the squared off end, 2 parallel protrusions catching the sunlight on the front right end, both the same shape and thickness. I don't believe this is stone. I think it's corroded metal. I feel that this is a battered and corroded piece of industrial equipment, another piece of mute testimony to the utter devastation that was Mars' turning point. What initially caught my eye in this context view was the perfect block within the circle. But when I zoomed in to examine the area, I was delighted to discover a whole lot more going on. You know, normally I place locator dots to indicate other anomalies within the image being presented, but in today's detail view, there's an exception because virtually everything in the image is an anomaly. Starting with the main item, we see what seems to be a scissors-sided, square-framed anomaly whose left side curls up on the left end, rather like the front of a toboggan. A plate crosses the middle, and several indeterminate structures jut up at right angles into the air. Just behind the toboggan lie kind of a chest-like block, and then the perfect block in the background. But take just a moment to examine the smaller items surrounding this panoply. On the right edge, I'm intrigued by the shaped piece with a perfect hole through it. All the other pieces seem mechanical or structural in nature. There's just too much here to simply sweep it all under the rug of purposeful ignorance. Pyramids have been found all over the surface of Mars. Anomaly hunters have also learned that NASA JPL will often overlook anomalies on the horizon. Therefore, we take our time to examine the far reaches of an image for items that escape detection by their AI software and human operator intervention. Such is the case in this particular image. Some estimated 2 miles from the rover's navigation cameras, pyramidal shapes catch the eye in our context view. As we zoom in, our second view reveals what appears to be a pyramid complex, showing at least 3 distinct pyramids. As we go to hyperzoom, we can clearly see walls forming right angles and archways on the lower level of the pyramid on the right. Now, these are not just rocks, folks. If you thought you were viewing an image taken here on Earth, you would immediately identify it for what it is: a pyramid complex with walls and apparent doorways. It's just possible that NASA JPL is purposely allowing more non-fractal items to slip through their obfuscation gauntlet as part of their so-called soft disclosure efforts. Whatever the case, more and more anomalies are right there in front of our eyes for those who will take the time to look. Was that last image of the pyramid complex a little too blurry for your taste? Well, what a beautiful thing to witness an ancient building emerging from the drifting dunes of Mars. In this context view, the pyramid shape just pops out of the picture in the upper left-hand corner. Moving into the detail view, it's stunning to see the clearly defined steps, the lavish carving, and the surrounding structures half buried in the sand. Evoking the classic design of Mesoamerican pyramids, one can't help but wonder if this equivalent on Mars was also used for humanoid sacrifice. Some were used for astronomical observation, but most were temples, and thus the sacrificial theme seems likely and sad. We find evidence through statues, carvings, and buildings of a period in Martian history seemingly immersed in such brutality. Did they evolve as a society before the cataclysm? Or did the elite somehow escape and bring both their pyramid technology and their low estimation of human life to the shores of Earth's oceans? All speculation, of course. And naturally enough, there will always be the skeptic who cries rocks regardless of the evidence. Nevertheless, the enigma presented by this pyramid and scores of others discovered on Mars demands a theory that addresses all the questions. Those who have read Dr. Emanuel Velikovsky's Worlds in Collision and Dr. John Brandenburg's Death on Mars, the Discovery of a Planetary Nuclear Disaster, are well on their way to formulating just such a theory. Meanwhile, the search continues. Hey, thanks for stopping by and having a look today. There is a whole lot more to come. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And in the meantime, this is your buddy Dave over at Mars X3D. Be well.